Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about a possible over-the-counter testosterone. I've talked about it previously and I'm going to go more in depth with a second blood work panel that I had done so that I can talk about some of the side effects. But before we get into that, I want to remind everybody, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a chemist, I do not encourage the use of any substances, legal or illegal, and this video is strictly for educational and entertainment purposes only. So, with that, I wanted to say that I've been using 4-andro cream as a testosterone replacement. Again, we don't necessarily know what 4-andro turns into in the body. We don't know how much estrogen or testosterone it turns into. Like I said last time, if you look up 4-andro, it actually brings up the wrong molecule, and it'll say that 15% gets converted in the body, but that is for a different compound that is now banned. So this 4-andro is a two-step conversion. That one's a one-step conversion. And with this one being a two-step conversion, we don't actually know how much gets converted. It could be 0.5%, it could be 13%. We really don't know. Most people on online forums and stuff will say it's probably around 3 to 4%, but I have not seen any data, or at least human data, backing this up. So it might just really come down to the person's body and propensity to change molecules in their own body. So the other side of this is side effects. I have been feeling even less side effects than I was before because I made sure to be very strict with my regimen. I right now am on 2 pumps in the morning and 2 pumps at night. I believe each pump is 50 milligrams, so that's 200 milligrams a day, which seems excessive. But again, if it's 0.5% that gets transferred into testosterone, that would be 1 milligram of testosterone a day. It'd be minuscule, but we really don't know. That's just where I feel healthy. That's where I have normal drive amounts. That's where I have normal just function in my body in general. But for all I know, that could be a placebo effect. We're a few months into this experiment now, and I haven't really faced as much acne as I was when I wasn't doing it consistently, and I have not dealt with as much bloating. I haven't really had much bloating or water retention. So I think that might have just been a fluke earlier on in the experiment. But now getting into the blood work, I had a comprehensive blood panel done. However, I need to note I was not able to get my testosterone on this test. So there is no testosterone value, and I can't tell you how much it converts into because, frankly, I don't know. Plus, there's also the factor that a lot of people overlook, including myself, which I overlooked before, cross detection. If a molecule is similar enough, even sometimes if it's not similar, but if it can activate the same test when it is in a lab, you can get what's called a cross detection, meaning that it's actually a completely different chemical, but it shows up as testosterone. So for all we know, a broken down metabolite, let's say that this is a broken down metabolite, is similar enough, or at least interacts in the same way as actual testosterone. This is actual testosterone. And this could be elevated, and you could have basically no testosterone. Well, it would still show up on your blood test as having elevated testosterone. So I can try to get my testosterone tested in the future. I would probably like to see if I go off of this for a while, what happens, but I don't know. I'm not making any promises. I don't really know what the future holds for me, but I was doing this experiment because I was curious, especially because testosterone replacement therapy is expensive, very expensive, and if you do it with injections, it can be relatively dangerous. So that's just my 2 cents. So my blood work values were, sodium was normal, with a value of 141, and the reference range is between 137 and 146 mmol slash L liters. I'm going to level with you. I don't think that's nanomoles per liter because it's an mmol, but I'm going to keep going. Potassium was normal with a 4.3. Reference range is between 3.5 and 5.2 in the same measurement scheme. Chloride was normal at 104 The reference range is between 98 and 108. Excuse me. And it is the same value. So mmol per liter. Then did I do chloride? Yes, I did. Okay, so carbon dioxide was normal. The value is 29, and the reference range is between 21 and 32. Same measurement scheme. In and gap was normal. The value was 8. The reference range is between 3 and 18. Glucose was normal. The value is 81, and the reference range is between 70 and 100, and that's milligrams per deciliter. My BUN was normal. Value is normal at 10, and it was 7 to 18 milligrams per deciliter. My creatinine was normal, 0.99. The reference range is 0.7 to 1.3 milligrams per deciliter. BUN creatinine ratio was normal with a value of 10, and the reference range is between 5 to 37. Calcium was normal, 9.5. Reference range is between 8.4 and 10.1 milligrams per deciliter. Total protein was normal at 7.7. Reference range is 6.4 to 8.3 grams per deciliter. I don't know this one. Albumin. Full disclosure, I don't know. I'm not going to act like I know what all of these values mean. So if I pronounce it wrong, I apologize. Albumin was normal. Value was 4.5, and it was 3.4 to 5 is the reference range, and that's grams per deciliter. My globin. Sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. I believe that has to do with a specific blood marker on its viscosity. I could be completely wrong. I did not research that one. It was normal. Value is 3.2, and the reference range is 2.4 to 4.0 grams per deciliter. My A to G ratio was normal, 1.4. Reference range is 1 to 1.8. My beryllium total was normal. It was 0.4, and the reference range is 0.2 to 1 milligrams per deciliter. And now moving on to the three that are the most important when it comes to the supplement, and one of them being out of order, so this could potentially be bad news for the supplement. So, alkaline phosphatase, I'm so sorry if I'm mispronouncing that, was 148. And that means it was high because the reference range is 28 to 136 U/L. So when it comes to this one being high, this marker, if it is high, indicates a bone disease, a specific type of bone disease, or potential for liver damage. But that is also why the next two values are very important, and I'm going to swing back around to the alkaline phosphatase after I cover these two. My AST was 19, and the reference range is 7 to 45 U/L, and my ALT was 42 out of 10 to 60 is the reference range U/L. And those are both normal in the healthy range. Granted, my ALT could be a little lower, but overall my AST is not very high. Those are acute inflammatory markers for the liver, to my understanding. And the alkaline phosphatase being high, my doctor was not concerned. It is only 12 points out of the reference range, which, depending on the value, could be huge. But the thing is, the reference range is 28 to 136. That is 112 points. So for maybe 12 points out of the reference range, it's not super scary, but it is something I want to keep an eye on in my future blood work. And yeah, so basically everything was normal. All of it was normal except my alkaline phosphatase. Again, I did not get my testosterone retested. I did not get my testosterone tested because I wasn't able to. Sometimes it can be hard to convince doctors to test testosterone. I've only truly had a few of those tests, and they haven't been exactly what I wanted to see. Part of the reason I even investigated this whole journey is because my testosterone, the first time I got it tested, was extremely low. for the age I was at least. And so overall, there could be potential damage. I doubt I have the bone disorder, so it would be more likely that there's potential damage to my liver. However, again, it is only 12 points out of the range, which is, again, in a 112-point range is not a huge margin of, like, out of the reference range. It could even be made up for calculatory error. But I'm still going to keep an eye on that in my future tests and for future experiments. Overall, it's hard for me to gauge how well this has been working in the past month because I recently suffered a concussion. I have a history of repeated chronic traumatic head injury. I don't really like to talk about it, but basically, for the past month, I haven't really been normal or myself. I'm just starting to get back around last week. I think a week before that was when I stopped using the cane for balance. And so with that, that can drastically alter your mood, your drive, everything like that. And I will tell you what, my mood, my drive, everything was completely off from this concussion. So is it possible that the 4-andro stops working or stops converting to the metabolites that you want it to in the body, like such as testosterone and estrogen? Yes, it's potentially possible, and that could be potentially why I lost so much of my normal desires, my ability to do things, but it's much more likely that it was the concurring concussion. And also I had a bad spill after the concussion, meaning that I got double head trauma. But I'm not going to bore you guys with those details. I just wanted to let you know that about that, because that can throw off my feelings lately. Before the concussion, everything was going normal. Everything was smooth. I felt completely normal, and I didn't have any problems. Lately, I've been feeling like I've been having problems with my blood flow, which oftentimes actually is associated with concussions. POTS can be induced by concussions. So that's just something to keep in mind when you're evaluating my test. Because the thing is, over the past month, anecdotally, obviously this is all anecdotal because it's just me, I haven't been feeling myself, and that could be entirely due to the concussion. And it's still possible that the 4-andro is just not good enough of a replacement, and it's making me feel bad. So I don't want to give anybody false hope, but I also don't want to discourage anybody. You're your own person. Talk to your doctors. Do what's right for you. I know that another factor is, for this blood work in particular, is that I got the concussion after the blood work. This blood work was actually done at the end of August. It was done on the 29th, I believe. And so with it being done on the 29th, sorry, I lost my train of thought. With it being done on the 29th, I did not have the concussion to possibly interfere with any of the blood markers, because a lot of blood markers can become altered when you get a concussion. Granted, I don't know if any of these in this panel would have been mixed up. Probably not, but it is always a possibility. And another big thing is I take N-acetylcysteine every day. I take about 6 grams. So that's 6 1,000 gram pills, 3 in the morning and 3 at night. And that can 1,000% play a factor in liver health, because it converts into glutathione in the body, master antioxidant, and could potentially be helping my body to fend off any sort of liver damage. But it is possible that the liver damage could occur later down the line. And the reason why this video is important is because we have always been told it doesn't cause any sort of liver damage, but you can't go on it for more than 8 weeks. That's what almost everything says about 4-andro. Now, there is oral 4-andro, and I do believe that does not skip the first pass at the liver, so if it is causing damage, it will cause it more acutely. But do we really know if this gets fully metabolized in the liver? Naturally, everything you put in your body will go through the liver, but is it damaging it? Like if you take testosterone cream, does that damage the liver? It doesn't. There's the potential if you have really weird, body dynamics, but it doesn't damage it outright. So that's not something you would just inherently know. And so overall, I think that this has the potential to be a great therapeutic replacement for people who can't replace testosterone. I don't recommend it, though, because testosterone is always king. I was on testosterone cream replacement therapy. This is comparable, although I feel that it's weaker. It could be entirely in my head that it's weaker or it's better. I am one person. This is anecdotal experimental experience. But for all of you who stuck around and watched this long, I appreciate you. I just want to say I really appreciate when you guys leave comments. It means a lot because it helps to grow my channel, especially in the algorithm. But more importantly, I get to interact with those comments, and it can allow me to know what to make future videos on. I would not have guessed that so many people really wanted to see this video examining that my blood work was fairly good. Overall, I really don't think my liver health is in danger. I would imagine it's much more likely it's very minor, and if anything happened, I wouldn't be in that bad of shape. Because the other thing is, when you're sick, and I was sick prior with the further test, like before this test, you can actually have long occurring liver damage, and that could be accounted for by the high the high level that I had. Overall, I really want to hear what you guys think, and so please leave it down in the comments below. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. That always helps boost the algorithm too. And if you want to share this with any of your lifting buddies or anybody who's on testosterone replacement and find it curious, go ahead and send it. But until then, I want to say you guys have been great. Again, thanks if you stuck around this long, and go out and be great.